So I thought I would do a video on my my newest build that I built. So it was an AMD build. So I traded some parts to make this build. So the cost of it is a lot cheaper when I break it down price by price. The money that I spent on this is not going to be what most people are going to spend, and I doubt many people will be able to build something like this for as little amount. Reason being, I recycled parts like my old terabyte hard drive or RAM that I had, so things like that didn't cost me any money, saved me money. On top of that, I work for a retail store, and they carry things and I get discounts. So that being said, this whole thing cost me well under $300 to build. So bear in mind, again, the prices that I got are not going to be the same for most people. So to start, I guess, with the processor, I got the FX 8150 8-core processor. It's a pretty sweet little processor. It's 8 cores at 3.6 gigahertz, and it uses the AM3 Plus socket. So, and of course, it's AMD, so it's unlocked. You can overclock it. This processor has, I think, the Guinness record for highest overclock or something like that. Something ridiculous that was on like helium cooling or something like that. I don't know. But for cooling, I guess, a good segue into that. I got the Antec H2O 620 cooler. It was these are normally $69. I got it for a little bit less. The reviews on these are mixed, but very comparable to the Corsair H60 and H80. Honestly, I mean, from what I've read, there's not a huge difference. I know the installation of this is not the easiest, but if you have any knowledge of computers and putting them together, then it's really not that hard. One thing I did notice about the cooler is when I installed it, I don't know if you can see. Let's see if I can, yeah. When I installed it, it actually was making like a ticking noise. It sounded like a fish tank bubbling. I was kind of worried there for a second that I didn't get it on right, but I did, and I looked it up, and it seems like that's a common issue. It has every now and then it'll make a bubbling noise, and that's air in the radiator, I guess, getting stuck. So it says just to let it run for a while and that'll stop, and sure enough it did. I let it run for a little bit and it stopped. One thing I know about the way I did it, it comes standard set up, recommending a pull method, which is one fan on the back of the radiator pulling air through the radiator out of the case. I decided that I wanted to do a push-pull, so I added another 120 millimeter fan to push through the radiator. So I guess here's a good way to show you. This arrow is saying that it's using the pull technique, so the fan is on the other side and it's blowing that way. What I did is add a fan on this side, which is also blowing that way, so it's pushing air through. This fan on the other side is pulling air out the other end, out the back of my case. So that's the push-pull method, for anybody who's wondering. The way it attaches, this has like a little clamp kind of system. You put it in and then you'll twist it and it kind of locks it in place, and then you tighten down screws. That's how the heatsink actually stays on. And then here I have the motherboard. It's a Gigabyte 970A UD3 motherboard. So it's a pretty decent motherboard. It's got USB 3.0 and it has dual. It does have two PCI Express. One's a 16 times and then one's 4. So you can do Crossfire, and I've read that the difference in performance in between a 16 and a 4, as opposed to a 16 and an 8 or a 8 and an 8, I heard it's really not that big a deal. So I might try crossfiring in the future. What I have in there as far as graphics goes is It is a, hold on a second. I don't know why I didn't have this out. It's a HD Radeon 6770. Not the best of graphics cards, but it was inexpensive, and I needed something for the time being because I had a 5670 or something before this, and it was just getting to where I couldn't use it anymore. So I got the 6770. Again, I got it from work, so I didn't spend quite as much. That's going to be upgraded within the next month to a 7870. So that's going to be quite a jump in performance, I'm hoping. So that will happen soon. And then the case. The case is a Zelman Z11 case. It's a pretty nice little case. It looks pretty mean. It does have a blue LED in the front here. And it's got the grills on the top for two 120mm fans up here, 120mm fan slot in the back, which is where I have the radiator mounted, and there's a 120mm fan down at the bottom. Also, in these grills right here, there's a grill on the side with vents on both ends. There's a 80mm fan in there, and on the other side there's another 80mm fan. So it's 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 fans in this, which is plenty of cooling. I don't see anything getting hot, even if I overclock some things. So, but again, I paid a lot less than most people. I'll tell you the real big reason why I didn't spend a lot of money. The processor and this motherboard came in a package. It was a trade that I did with my friend. I bought a Intel i7 3770K for a ridiculously cheap price due to Intel. They have a promotion for retail associates. They do it every year. It's called the holiday deal, and they have the summer deal. It's where they sell something pretty awesome for a pretty awesome price. So I couldn't pass it up, and I went ahead and got the processor. I paid for a 3770K. I paid $130. That's total shipping and everything. So $130 to my door. And my friend, he decided he wanted to do an Intel build, Intel/NVIDIA build, and so what we did was we traded. And I traded just the processor, and he gave me this processor and his motherboard. And then also on top of that, because he felt like he was so happy with it, he also sent me a MSI motherboard and a AMD Sempron processor that he had as extra parts that he was using as test parts. So he sent me that, and I mean, I'm not going to complain, it's free. And I overclocked the Sempron, or I unlocked it rather, to a dual core as opposed to a single core. So free little dual core processor. I'll probably do some fun things with that in the future. But yeah, that's my build. For now, it's going to change. There's going to be things added. There's my Sony PlayStation 3D display that I play on. Look it up. It's got some mixed reviews, but the picture's amazing. It's got great quality of picture. The big drawback is that it has a issue with refresh rate, where it will sometimes go black for a second. Not often, but it does it every now and then, and it is a pain in the butt. But I paid $100 for that thing on Black Friday. 24-inch monitor, 3D. I mean, you can't beat that. So, anyways, that's my my gaming setup on a budget. Monitor included. That's no more than $500 spent right there. $100, $50, $130, $60. So, 100 for the monitor. Yup. So less than 500, right at 500, around there. And I ended up with this little build. Again, I'm going to add to it. There's going to be a lot more things added on. I guess I can take this apart. This will probably get edited, cut out. So the Zelman case does have thumb screws, which makes it so much easier to take apart. And there's the inside. I do have a solid state drive. That's a recycled drive from another build that I did, and a terabyte drive from my older computer. A Dynex 520 watt power supply, which is terrible, but it was ridiculously cheap, and I needed something right then. There's the Antec cooler. There's the radiator doing the push-pull technique, and I only have one fan up top. I'll be adding another one of those soon, so that's the build. I hope you guys like it.